Joining us now on the program from the Michigan Institute for Neurological Disorders are Doctors Belkin and Taylor Gonyou. We thank you both for joining us to talk about all the different services that you provide at Mind, as well as some of the more specific services, particularly for multiple sclerosis. But let's begin just by explaining for us some of the different services that are provided by the Michigan Institute for Neurological Disorders.
Yeah, so thanks for having us. So Mind, or Michigan Institute for Neurological Disorders, we're a large private neurology center, and really we offer everything neurology. So in our facilities, our offices, we treat everything from obviously multiple sclerosis, which we're going to talk a little more about today, but common disorders such as migraine, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, follow-up through stroke patients, epilepsy, seizures, nerve and muscle disorders, amongst others. We have, a very large MS center, which we'll talk about. We have a large headache and facial pain center. We have a full movement disorder center. And so really we can offer everything related to any neurological disorder here and do all testing on site. So it's sort of a one-stop shop where people, if they need an MRI, if they need other electrodiagnostic testing, pain procedures. We have a full pain clinic. Everything can be done during essentially one visit.
And what sort of, when was this founded? Where are you located, in case people want to know more about just how long Mind has been working on these different issues and how they can get in contact with you?
Yeah, so Mind was founded in 1969. So we've been around a long time. Grown substantially. We now have our main office is in Farmington Hills. However, we have satellite clinics currently in Roseville, Michigan, as well as Dearborn Heights, Michigan. And certainly the plan is to have some other locations in the near future.
And there are a number of different neurological disorders and issues that are treated at Mind and that are being examined by the professionals in your organization, but you do quite an extensive amount of work in the realm of multiple sclerosis. Dr. Gonyou, can you explain just some of the different work that goes into looking into MS and treating patients at your organization?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me also. So we see a lot of MS patients here up on the second floor. We have our MS institutes. We have an infusion center. We have OCTs, which is the way to test patients' eyes with MS. And then we also have our MRI machines down in the basement, plus our clinic up here. So we see patients every day with multiple sclerosis. We diagnose them, we treat them, and we also are able to connect them with different resources in the community, such as the MS Society, Yoga Moves MS, and even more resources than just that. But we have a lot of opportunity here for them to get comprehensive treatment.
And beyond the treatment too, do you also conduct some research on MS? Because I know that's a big focus at Mind.
Yeah, so we have a large clinical research program, and we focus, majority of our research currently is in the realm of multiple sclerosis. So yeah, we have been involved in clinical research trials for multiple sclerosis for well over 20 years now. We've been involved in most of the pivotal trials that have led to the approval of majority of our current approved therapies for multiple sclerosis. So we have a large, very active research program.
And Dr. Gonyou, you mentioned just a couple moments ago that you do have a great relationship with the National MS Society, National Multiple Sclerosis Society. In fact, Mind was recently recognized for its work in the realm of multiple sclerosis. Tell us about that recognition and what triggered that recognition from this national organization that's advocating for those with MS and also is on the front line supporting research efforts to find a cure.
Yeah, so I can actually take that. So the MS Society does have a designation called where certain centers receive a designation for their comprehensive center for MS care. It's not an easy designation to get. You really truly have to prove that you can provide comprehensive care for a patient with MS. And so we were essentially awarded that designation a couple of years back, which really just solidified what we do here and that we can really provide full service care for patients with multiple sclerosis.
Joining us on the program today are Doctors Belkin and Taylor Gonyou from the Michigan Institute for Neurological Disorders, otherwise known as Mind, as we talk more about their work in the realm of multiple sclerosis research and treatment. And I understand Mind has also now launched a fellowship program. Could you explain for us, A, what the fellowship program is, and B, why launch that at this time?
So I'll start. So at Mind, we have been involved in medical education, for really since the Mind was founded again in 1969. Through our facility and our physicians, we have actually run the neurology residency programs at Ascension as well as Beaumont. So we've been really actively involved in education of residents and training people or young physicians to become neurologists for many years. And so, given that we have the largest multiple sclerosis center in the state, and what we can provide for the treatment of multiple sclerosis, it was really just a logical progression of our ability to educate and residents and now fellow education. And so we, at that point, really just thought it was the time to launch an MS fellowship program where we can train those who are interested to become essentially MS specialists. There's still a great need for neurologists who specialize just in MS and really understand everything about multiple sclerosis. It's become much more complicated, the number of therapies we have, the risks associated with therapies, how do you decide what therapy is right for a patient. It requires so much time and education that we thought that training more, offering this training program so we can provide more MS specialists locally to the MS patients was just the right thing to do.
Dr. Gonyou, I understand too that you are the first fellow in this fellowship program through Mind. What got you interested first in your practice on multiple sclerosis specifically?
Yeah, I think that, I was always interested in immunology in undergrad, and then I started residency, and I was really interested in the research regarding MS. I think that 20 years ago, there were many options, and unfortunately, as they learn in residency, there are so many new treatment options and so much exciting to come. And I think it excited me about not just learning about that for patients and really improve patients that have MS. So I wanted to share all the knowledge that I had with them.
And Dr. Gonyou, what has the program so far been like for you as someone that has dedicated a large portion of their career to researching MS and clearly has such a passion for advancing research in this area and really turning that research into something that can help a lot of patients and a lot of people?
So on my day-to-day basis, I'm, with Dr. Belkin here at Mind seeing patients. And then, Mind is also involved in a lot of research studies, which I'm starting to become involved in with as well. And then a nice thing about, being an MS fellow is there's many MS fellows throughout the country. So there are lecture series that I take part of with the other MS fellows, where, we all kind of are learning together and overseen by other physicians that are kind of facilitating our learning and giving us lectures, once to twice a week. And then in addition to that, Dr. Belkin and I will sit down and go over new research and new papers and make sure that we're always staying on top of everything and always keep learning.
And how has this fellowship helped to benefit advancing your learning about MS and the ways that you're able to then implement that into treatment options for your variety of patients?
Yeah, so as Dr. Belkin said, there are so many MS drugs. So sometimes as a general neurologist, it can be hard to stay up to date on all of them. So this year has really been a good time to dive in and learn all of the details about each one and really pay attention to what's up and coming and, what isn't even out yet, but we're still learning about. So it's been nice. And I feel like, my education has been very good. And my knowledge has really increased about the drugs and not just that, but about patient care as well. Getting to see MS patients every day, I've learned a lot from them as well. And, it's not just about treating, the disease itself, but also all the symptoms that come with it.
And just to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, because we've learned so much in recent years about MS and so much different information about a variety of different treatments and ways that MS progresses in different patients or affects different patients in different ways. Where is the MS research at this time, or what are some advancements that may be coming soon that people should be keeping their eye out for? And considering, as they're continuing to do their own research on MS and continuing to consult too with their doctors and with their families' doctors who may be affected with MS.
So what we've learned, especially in recent years, is that we know that if we can diagnose a patient with MS early and get them on an effective therapy early, our expectation is they're going to do really well. And I don't know that 20 years ago we could have said that. So our expectation is for an MS patient, if we can get them diagnosed, get them on a highly effective therapy early, that our expectation for them to go on to have productive lives, families, and really just not miss a beat. A lot of that, in terms of has also helped us is the advancement in MRI technology. What we can see on MRIs today, we can see many years ago. There's even more advanced software that we can see things again, and that's not offered at just routine MRIs that we're kind of getting involved with. So things we can potentially see now in imaging is really going to help us monitor a patient going forward. And then we're getting into the realm of what's called precision medicine, personalized medicine, and using things called biomarkers, certain blood proteins that may correlate to disease activity. And we are working with a relatively new company called Octave, who's developed this MS disease activity score. And we really started implementing that in our practice. And it's really kind of changed kind of how we view patients, and really can kind of see it's another tool to see really how they're doing and how they're responding to their treatment. And so we're always trying to stay on top of what's new and what's out there and what's relevant, as long as we think it's truly going to impact the patients and be in their best interest.
And given that, and the way that this fellowship has helped to advance your understanding of MS and different ways that can be treated, does MIND have any aspirations to branch out in other type of fellowship programs, and either in MS research or in research of other neurological diseases and disorders in the future?
So the answer is right now, don't know. My specialty is MS, and so I started this fellowship and we're off and running, and so far so good. So I'm not qualified to start any other fellowships. However, as I mentioned, we do have a movement disorder center. We have a headache and facial pain center, and my partners who run those are the best at what they do. And so I wouldn't exclude the possibility of some fellowship programs in those areas starting somewhere down the road, but that'll be a wait to see.
And we're joined by Doctors Martin Belkin and Taylor Gonyou on today's edition of the Megacast from the Michigan Institute for Neurological Disorders. You can find them online, mindonline.com, MIND online.com for more information, and call their location in the Oakland County area in Farmington Hills, 248-553-0010, 248-553-0010 for more information and consultation. Dr. Belkin, Dr. Gonyou, before we let you go, anything else that we should know at this time about MIND's continuing work in MS research and treatment?
No, we try to stay up to date with the latest and offer our patients what's out there and make sure we're providing the highest quality care, and we'll continue to do so.
Well, we appreciate both of you joining us, telling us more about your fellowship program, and of course, to give you congratulations on your recognition by the National MS Society. Thank you both.
Thanks for having us.